Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. Today, we are covering the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 17, Reunion, Part 3. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video. You can also subscribe and leave your comments below. Let's get into the conclusion of this thing that we're calling Reunion. All right, y'all. So, it's late at night. I want to get this over and done with. As I already predicted, why do we need 3 parts? The season wasn't even that interesting. And y'all confirmed it all. And this reunion, part 3, to me just made the whole season whack. Don't get me wrong, there's been some good moments, but let me get through the stuff. K. Michelle, what's this plot? We find out it's no plot. She was trying to get ahead of the story. She's not telling us anything about who told her this, da 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 da. But that was one of the story points in Dallas that basically threw off the rest of the season because of her. Because it's been weird, and I've said this in some of my reviews. It's just like something's been off since Dallas. She's a confessional gangster, like your friend Perfect Portia, as you're trying to call her here, is, and an emotional tweeter. Andy basically said, while being still nice, stop tweeting. K. Michelle said that it was going around town that K. Michelle was dating Black, but you're married, so wouldn't that debunk everything in the first place? She still doesn't understand, and she's still not answering what Drew did to try to make it seem like you and him were dating or had something going on. Drew said, I was caught off guard about the whole situation. She said that she was trying to get ahead of stories. So you got bad advice from whomever, and you held up the season. The season was whack. And you have some responsibility in that, K. Michelle. I'm not letting you off easy. I don't hate you, but I'm not a stan of yours. Meaning the ones that are standing you knowing that you didn't have a good season. Even you said that you flopped, but Andy's giving y'all another chance. And we'll talk about that in just a second. From K. Michelle saying what she said about getting ahead of the story, she was in her head, da 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 da. Drew takes this opportunity to say that I understand your perspective, blah 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 blah, and wish it could have been better. And hopefully, I think they talk a little bit later on where they stand. But anyways, I think that I would, if I was Drew, I would drag K. Michelle a whole lot more. The season did not make sense, and you came at me for no reason. Portia and Kay. There's no hate between them, and I guess they're going to start. What I did find interesting with Kay dealing with Portia and Drew at this reunion, it wasn't a thing of, oh, let's be friends. It felt like, okay, we're moving on from this point. But they didn't say, let's begin again. I just was watching to hear the words that came out of their mouths. So, do I think there's going to be new stuff next season? I'm sure. Shamia said, what was this whole thing about her picking the wrong team? Because I never did anything and persuaded her not to be a part of you guys. Now Portia wants to say, no, it wasn't true. Even though you said on the couch, as soon as you started getting to know them, you decided you didn't want to get to know me. Shamia said that, yeah, I never said anything and put anything on K. Michelle, even about this whole Ambien situation that y'all was saying that she's crazy and she on Ambien. They said no, it wasn't. And then there was unseen footage after Dallas of Phaedra saying that she was on Ambien. But K. Michelle, you're so into Phaedra, and she's the one saying that you were on Ambien. Oh, I misjudged her. So Drew and Kay basically just kind of waved the white flag or whatever. Kay said that she was enjoying some of the sparring her and Drew went through. You know how to get under my skin, da 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 da, and all that. I was like, so I'm telling you, this season was rough because we were trying to understand what was going on. Okay, Kelly, are you a rebound BFF? Kelly said no. We are authentically friends. We share stuff, blah, 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 blah. She don't feel that way. Why did you ask for Phaedra's help if you said that she was whack? Kelly said, well, me and Phaedra were developing a relationship off screen, and the whole whack thing was at the beginning of the season, wasn't it? So I don't know. But she wanted to drop the misconception that Kelly was not paying Phaedra. She first said that she paid $10K to Phaedra. And basically Phaedra said, well, you got a discount because from the billable hours, it should have been about $600K. Cool. Kelly gave something. And I think that that was still cool. And I'll even say it was cool for Phaedra not to charge all the way. But I mean, it gave you some storyline. So I guess that, I just say call it even, in my opinion. Shamia says that the rum bum is not going forward, all because of the family and not really wanting to give up any of their rights. Kelly talks about her third location, the one that got closed really soon. It was really sad that it happened, as she said, and a lot of the ladies did say that they were heartbroken in regards to all that. Cynthia was one, and it was like, look, she does support everyone. So Kelly did talk about that. They talked about Drew going to the restaurant, showing that it was closed. What was that all about? All I can say is Drew didn't have no storyline. And this was her last attempt to try to act like she was really involved this season. And what's a shame, it does seem like K. Michelle gave her a storyline. Then Angela jumps in and all that good stuff. I'm sorry, Angela is just, y'all think that this is just Portia's puppet. Angela's just giving back the same energy that was given to her. That's all she's doing. Y'all can call it annoying or whatnot, but it was annoying. It should have been annoying when it was happening on the other side. Now, Angela, these reads. I'm going to need you not to get into this Dr. Seuss type of way of reading. No teeth and nowhere to sleep. Was it funny? Yes. But I'm seeing a pattern with you. And you get stuck in patterns and don't know how to get yourself out. It's not going to look like you're a great reader after a while. I mean, people already think that you're practicing your reads. Come up with a new formula. We don't need cat in the hat. And then Kelly talks about Angela's shoes being 2-inch heels. So obviously those kitten heels. And Angela said, those 2 inches is about how much money you got. It's so crazy. With your broke, Then we talk about the Dallas trip. Shamia and Kelly's living quarters. And how dirty it was. Cynthia was sitting on Reddit. And I think it had to do with the interviews from Shamia about Cynthia as to why she came in a little bit guns a-blazing. People can say, oh, she wanted a problem with her. I think that Cynthia thought that she needed to be on defense so much. Anyways, by day 2, I guess they're saying that the rooms wasn't clean. And Shamia said, we were trying to tell you, even though Cynthia said that she was told that the rooms were clean, at least by day 2 and all that. Cynthia was running around, and I'm sure she couldn't always be there hands on like she wanted to. That's my guess. But anyways, Shamia asked a question. At what part did you decide to not, what part did you decide, this is a Cynthia question, to not like Shamia? Cynthia said, I never decided that. I don't dislike her. We just had this run in and all this other stuff and all of that. Because Shamia's like, well, you were like the voice of reason last season, and now this season. Do I think that Cynthia can lean more towards perfect Portia. Yeah, she's known her longer, even though y'all about the same time that you known each other. But whatever. Um, I got something to say. Shamia and Gerald, they lost their last boy right after the first trimester. Um, you Portia stands, whom I call a part of a cult, are disgusting. The tweet I saw go down my timeline, and y'all been doing stuff like this since the season began, all in the name of perfect Portia. Now, I wasn't looking at them tweets, but it was showing colorism within the tweets and all that stuff. Now, somebody tweeted that Shamia deserved to lose that child because of how nasty she is. The most I can say, which I think I said before, y'all better never mention Teen Twirl again. How disgusting y'all and violent and aggressive that y'all are over a woman that you'll never meet. Y'all can't talk about Teen Twirl ever again. Y'all are despicable. Okay, did Gerald put pressure to have a boy? Shamia said Gerald never put pressure on her to do this as far as having a boy. I put pressure on me because I wanted to be a good wife. So either Gerald put that in her to act this way, or this is because of her church fundamentals, her church rendering or raising. Those are the only two options. K. Michelle encourages Shamia, saying, because there aren't any more male eggs, or what is it called? Embryos. Sorry about that. When you're down to nothing, God is up to something. And that's definitely true. Nobody was, everybody, almost everybody, but Portia, she wants the stent face, which I'm going to talk about in just a second, was encouraging to her and showing empathy. Angela and Amari, we finally get to what was going on, because I was like, what is happening? Angela and Amari, Angela says that they are great. There was talk about if Angela was homophobic. First, she does say, the wife used to live with us, so there was no issue with the wife. The wife's family was not accepting of Amari. A lot of times, she said that they couldn't even really stay together. Amari had to go someplace else. So the onus is on the other side of the family. She also says that she's not homophobic because her daughter came out to her at age 12, and she got a coming out cookie for her. I never heard of that, and that's cool. But yeah, I'm glad that she cleared it up and was concise, and it still felt like they were talking around in circles. Maybe they didn't want to mention the family just to not stir up any troubles. But hey, Pinky had a question. What's this thing about this wife in the basement? It had been going around that Pinky liked women. And this is before Pinky said anything in Scotland. And she said that she got it from a reliable source that there was a time that you were with the woman and they stayed a little bit longer. Like she didn't leave that night or something like that. And Pinky wants to know who the source is. And she said that Angela wasn't going to give it up. So, Shamia's package, fighting with everyone. She said, I'm damned if I do. If I don't say anything, or if I speak up. This whole alliance thing, not on her part, over there. I don't know anymore. But Pinky talked about how Shamia was this season in her behavior. She says, I know her outside of the show. I've known her beforehand. And she has been the light for the party. She's bubbly, energetic, and always encouraging everyone. And this is not the Shamia that I know. Shamia says that there's been a cloud, and the cloud has been on that couch. And then everybody just whatever. With Drew, they hash out whatever's going on between them. Drew just said, let's apologize and move on. That's all I want. Drew also apologized for the horse that she said that she doesn't have anything to do with. And she's cool with it. And I do believe Drew. I know a lot of people don't. But if a man that you don't even want to be around just comes around and puts a horse there. But anyways, Drew apologized. Shamia took that and said, look, I know you got stuff going on and I'm good. That's all I want. Cool. With Angela, I thought we were good. And Angela said, you couldn't have possibly thought that because we left on a bad terms. But anyways, Angela's question to Shamia, what was the biggest lie you told that you thought no one would catch? Then we get into the whole cease and desist, even though Shamia's saying, say what you need to say. And Angela's like, well, you put a cease and desist. Well, I guess how it's supposed to be, unless Angela states her source, then she can't talk about anything. Well, then there's no reason to be at this reunion. Really, do I get it as far as the cease and desist? Yes. I just don't, I don't get it in this whole situation, especially if you want to hash out whatever. You're not going to get it. A waste of time. So Portia claims, because after Shamia says that I've never talked to Portia about her to anyone. Portia said, yeah, you have. She brought no proof. And then Shamia wants to bring out this text proving that Portia didn't want her on the show. I believe Portia didn't want you on the show. You still have weak receipts. That's all I gotta say. Portia versus Shamia. She's now giving attitude to Andy, saying, I don't understand why we gotta talk about this with the friendship that was over last season. And Andy said, basically, it's your job. And there's still some stuff that happened this season, so we gotta talk. Portia gave this very staunch face. I'm not talking and you can't make me, with her childish self. She's never grown up, y'all. She just, let me stop. She's never grown up. She's saying, look, when we started this season, I wasn't closed off. Yes, you were. However, as far as starting up again, she said at this point she wanted, from the start of the season, let me be indifferent until I feel something. I find that to be a bunch of bullshit. But you can make up with everyone else but her. All you had to do is tell Drew, I was fighting. I was fighting last year. I was fighting. And that's why I did what I did. And now she's one of your models for your wigs. For someone you've known, you can never get it right with her. Then she opened her mouth and said, I could see in Shamia's eyes of her wanting this friendship back. For whatever reason, y'all weirdos, do y'all even hear what Portia be saying? She don't even make sense most of the time. She just be talking and be talking out of both sides of her mouth. She's a manipulator. And outside of Team Twirl, I do not like that woman. I do not like that woman. She just said a bunch of nonsense. She has perfected the art of being a manipulator. And she'll just, I'm not saying nothing. And she said, we're not talking about the mothers. We're not talking about my child. You wanted to shut that up because you didn't want that type of port. You wanted to control everything. If you said that you're not talking about Shamia, then you wouldn't have at any point during the whole reunion bring up stuff about Shamia, got stuff to say, want to release all this stuff about the BET Awards and all of that. When it's time to have a real conversation, you don't want to have it, but you want to take digs at her on the side. You are a... I see you for your works. I will never like you, Portia, because I know the type of person that you are. You told Carlos King, I'm not talking about her ever. But part 1, part 2, part 3. You made every effort to take digs. Again, when it's time to have a real conversation, pouting in the corner. I'm not saying nothing. A child. A child. Now, when they were talking about the Amari situation and people were making their jokes as when Andy wanted his feedback, and they said, well, you only been gay for 2 weeks. Did y'all hear when Portia said the lifestyle? She's still very church groomed. Lifestyle comes from the church. Meaning this thing, basically you're saying is a choice. But that's y'all have let her skate. Where is the question about her in her past life being a preacher and preaching against something that she's voluntarily operating in? Where's that at? Why wasn't that a question, Andy? I know that had to be somewhere in those questions. Anyways, I'm done with this season. And I don't think I'm going to be watching or reviewing next season. There were some cute moments. Andy wants to keep the same cast. That flopped. My predictions is that there's going to be a clash between Sway and Dennis, courtesy of Portia. And then she's going to be so conflicted, I don't know what to do. I see that a mile away. Ahead. I see it. I don't know what Kay's going to do. I guess she's relaxed right now. I still don't feel like Kay really wants to be on this show. She wants to use this as a way to promote her music, but this ain't really her cup of tea. And that's sad. But because of her star factor, and that's the reason why Bravo, I guess, both of them are going to use each other. Bravo's using them for that star factor, her, and she's going to use them to promote this new country album. Angela, all I can say, you got to switch it up. Switch it up. From whatever you're going to bring forth to your reads. That's all I have. Shamia, you're back. I don't know why. You're fading more and more and more and more and more and more and more to the background. You presented something last season at the front part of the season that we're just not seeing. I'd say come forth, but who cares? Because you're just diminishing yourself all for the sake of Miss Teeth. Kelly, I think you're finding your way. I really do. Does anyone want to see someone suffering through financial stuff? No. But it is what it is. At least you're showing your truth. I honestly don't have much problems with you. At the beginning of the season, I was like looking at you, ugh. But really towards the end, you really shine. I did say something about K. Michelle. I don't know what you're going to give. And that's because of what you gave this season, which was nothing, which you really held up the show. Others did too, but I'm talking to you right now. Pinky, I have a feeling that you're going to show more of your nasty side because you're an arrogant piece of work. The fans may or may not turn on you. It depends on how stuck and stubborn you are about your nasty ways next season. Of course, you're in the family way right now, so possibly you'll be different. I don't know. We ought to see a personal side to you, not your business side. And that's the only way that you're going to win people over, in my opinion. Drew, this is your moment to show something. We need to know who Drew Sidora is. Not the actress, not the singer. It's time to know who you are. Who are your real friends? And not them gay folks that you bring on the show to cause a scene. Where's Allison? She wasn't even at the birthday party for your mom. I already said Angela. Cynthia, I guess still do what you do. I just hope that you're really neutral and not fake neutral. And Phaedra, you're just going to get away with everything. Keep doing nothing. You're winning. That's all I got, y'all. I don't see myself watching nor reviewing next season. I'm uninterested in the fool-la-la. Now coming up, there's some more Housewives shows that are going to be coming back. Salt Lake City and New York. New York, I feel a little bit more grounded as watching and reviewing. Salt Lake City, I'm still on the fence. So I don't know if you're going to get a review or not from me. I just got to see how they're moving. Love and Marriage Huntsville is coming back. I'm on the fence with that too. I probably have to play it episode by episode, just to let you know. More scripted shows that are coming. We got Beauty and the Black, which I will be covering. They will be debuting their 3rd season next Thursday. In September, we're getting A Different World, the reboot or whatever you want to call it, or a continuation. I'm loving it. I'll be covering that. I'm already covering DRF from Detroit. If y'all not watching it, I would say go on and get into it. And I think I'll be covering Why Did I Get Married, the part 3 version. I think I'll be covering that. In November, Hunting Wives is back. I get my white heifers back, and I'm loving it. That's going to be on Netflix, so I can't wait to cover that. But reality TV, I don't know. I got a strange relationship with them, and I just don't feel like faking the funk. And I don't really feel like being negative. I'm telling my truth, but it's just like, there's just this way that I am that is probably just not good. That's all I got, y'all. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about this season. Was it as great? Or are we on the same page? And I'm not going to cuss y'all out if y'all thought it was great. I don't know why you thought it was great. But hey, maybe you got to have your reasons and you can list them. But I don't think it was great. And folks are lying. Andy, you're lying. I have no clue why you said, oh, I just enjoyed this reunion. Of course, you got to see the whole thing. And we're just looking at scraps over here of stuff. Then we get this unseen footage. What is that about? Let me stop because I'm done. I ain't about to go off again. But yeah. So September, we'll see what happens with the Real Housewives of New York and Salt Lake City. But like, comment, subscribe, and until the next one, peace.